Greetings, this is Amaboda. Today is March 25th, 2022, and we're following up that last podcast with episode 74, Being in Nirvakalpa Samadhi for 2 years. That is the title. And these past 2 years, I've not been labeling it as such because, well, to me, it's just continuous, uninterruptible bliss. I called it impenetrable mind. And it was not based upon yogic philosophy, but doing some research on yogic philosophy and the descriptions of the various states, I've come to the conclusion that this can be nothing other than Nirvakalpa Samadhi. So let me just read to you what the description is. I'm at vedicfeed.com, and it says here, Sahaja Samadhi, otherwise known as Nirvakalpa. It says the second level of Samadhi is when you go deeper into yourself, away from the world outside, and if some stimulus happens, it won't affect you. This is Sahaja Samadhi. In the Mahabharata, Arjuna is supposed to have practiced his archery with such a concentration. The only thing present at this stage is pure, empty consciousness, only a self-aware being. This is Nirvakalpa or Sahaja Samadhi. The mind of the yogi who attains to take on some of the omniscient and omnipotent qualities of the cosmic. The yogi who is able to navigate this stage eventually attains discriminative wisdom and perfect purity of mind and surrenders all attachments. The Sahaja Samadhi is also referred to as Nirvakalpa Samadhi. Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Ramana Maharshi, Sri Yukteswar Guri, and Swami Vivekananda are said to have experienced the state of Nirvakalpa and reached Sahaja Samadhi. And so, reading this, what I regard as significant is, to my knowledge, I don't know of any Westerner who has claimed to have attained Nirvakalpa Samadhi. I mean, these names mentioned are Indian yogis. And yeah, so I know this is a bold and audacious claim to make, but it's been 2 years and nothing can interrupt my bliss, not even people assaulting me at my front door. So, I mean, literally, it doesn't matter what I do. I'm always in this blissful state. And it's not just a little bit of bliss either. It's an ecstatic, extreme bliss. I mean, I have equanimity of mind, and so I'm not like going crazy and dancing in the streets or something. But it definitely has no other explanation. But it goes further and it lists 3 more points that apparently there's 3 other states of samadhi within this Nirvakalpa stage. So let's see what that says. Number 1, Nirvitarka Samadhi. It refers to the state in which the mental alternations of Shabda, Artha, and Jnana are suspended. The less real components, Shabda and Jnana, fall away completely, while the mind is absorbed in only Artha or form and loses its awareness of being the knower. It's where we have greater control over the mind, ideas, intellects, and dialogues. The memory about the nature of the object, its identifying sound, and the accumulated knowledge are temporarily transcended during Nirvitarka Samadhi. Okay. I'm going to have to look into some of these definitions, like what is Shabda? I know Jnana, well, at least Jnana Yoga, but this could be something different. I'll have to look at this. So I'm not sure exactly what this is even saying. But number 2, Nirvichara Samadhi. For the first time, true one-pointed concentration becomes possible. Even subtle thoughts do not occur. The perceptual limitations of time and space are transcended. This state is called Nirvichara Samadhi. Well, I can definitely say I've got true one-pointed concentration. Subtle thoughts do not occur. Well, my mind is empty all the time. I mean, I might have a thought like, oh, well, what am I going to eat? But I wouldn't consider that a subtle thought. I mean, no thoughts are distracting. Let's see. Perceptual limitations of time and space are transcended. Well, I guess I agree with that because, I'm working part-time teaching. And whenever I'm teaching, and I'm teaching like 2.5 hours per day here in China, kindergarten, I am completely in the moment and the time just passes. And I don't even have a single thought other than the task at hand when I'm teaching. I would say this would be the example of what karma yoga is supposed to be about. That's when you're completely in the moment and you are just doing what it is that you're there to do. And it's like the time just passes in an instant. So in that respect, I suppose so. But look, number 3, Kaivalya Samadhi. The final stage is to reach Kaivalya Samadhi, complete, final, and eternal union with the real eternal form. Now that's the interesting part. And yeah, that's still in transition for sure, because the final union, I mean, that's when you have all of your memories back and all of that. That's still in transition for me right now. But yes, but what I can confirm here from this description is yes, yes, yes. There is no doubt in my mind this is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. As far as which stage it is, maybe number 2. I definitely, am growing still. So it's all a learning process. But let's just explain, how do I do this? Let's go ahead and talk about what it is and a little bit about the history of what brought me to this state. Basically 2 years ago, well, first of all, I'll state my age. I'm 50 years old. I've been on the path of doing dhyana, and I've had different meditative experiences in the past over the last 30s, or actually more than 30 years. But it wasn't until 2 years ago that something within me finally decided, okay, I've had enough. I want to get to the next stage. No more messing around, playing around, just engaging in mundane pursuits. It's about time that I finally get to the next level. And I just sat on the sofa or a love seat or something like that. I just sat on there and made my back erect. I focused my mind to a pinpoint. I started breathing, focusing on the corners of the breath. That's when you breathe in, pause for a second, then breathe out, pause for a second. And you just do that and you focus on the corners of the breath. And that's where you can feel some sense of ecstasy and so forth. And doing that, I started to feel the top of my scalp, the crown of my head start to tingle. And then I start to feel these drips come down. And I've had these drips experience ever since like 30 years. I mean, it's just since my 20s or early 20s, like 19 even, as I started, I had those first experiences, but I didn't know what they were. And it wasn't until I progressed on my path more that I knew what they were. But the point is, those drips are very pleasurable. They also call that amrita or ambrosia. It's like a nectar of the supreme nectar of truth or of the absolute. And it's dripping on the top of my crown. But this time was different. It became faster. It became like a waterfall. This torrent of bliss, and it was indescribable ecstasy that I had experienced before, but it was only for a brief time before. I guess you could say I had samadhi before, but the lower level of samadhi. Well, this time it came down and it didn't end. And it continued for days, and the days turned into weeks. But let me just explain to you what that feeling is like. Well, first of all, it's indescribable. I mean, how do you describe how chocolate tastes to somebody if they've never tried chocolate, right? What I can say is that it's like my mind filled up with this illumination. It's like it crossed a threshold of illumination, this barrier that was keeping me from getting to that next level. And it's like a wall that I was banging my head against to break through for a long time. And I would just, kind of like take a break from doing that and just do other stuff. And it's like, but this time it actually happened. And I guess it's kind of like, from one perspective, you know how a baby chick is trapped in its shell and has to break through that shell? Well, that's what I did. I broke through this shell, and suddenly it's like I'm free. I'm liberated. My mind is just like buzzing. It's like completely still, but it's this bliss, this light is just filling up my mind. And as I'm talking right now, my mind is still full of this bliss. I mean, it doesn't end. It hasn't ended for 2 years. And so that's why I've been making these podcasts and why I've been publishing writings, is I'm reaching out, trying to find other people who have similar experiences. It's kind of like, this happened to me. Did it happen to you too? It's trying to network with like minds. And it's not about boasting at all. But now I'm looking around realizing, well, hey, I'm this baby chick that emerged from the shell. And I'm looking around, I'm seeing people are still in their shells. They've not broken through yet. So I'm not looking around saying, oh, I'm so much better than everybody else. No, of course not. It's like, okay, I've broken out, and now I'm just kind of trying to help others break out too. But at the same time, the ultimate is on an individual one-by-one basis. And, I'm not trying to say that any teacher can do the work for a student, but maybe you can help, provide some answers and some secrets on how to more effectively or more efficiently get to that next place. And so that's what I'm trying to do with these podcasts. So what does it feel like? Well, it's amazing. It's like a high that's superior to any drug. It feels better than a sexual orgasm. If you can imagine, how popular sex is, and I want to keep this family friendly, but that's something that's over in an instant, right? It's like you can't be doing that all the time. It's just physically impossible. So if you can imagine that same level of pleasure, but it doesn't end, it just keeps going and going and going, but it's not interfering with your life. It's not like you can't adjust to it. It just makes every moment of your life better. It's like you can never get bored because you have this. So where to go from here? So the point here is that this is something attainable for everybody. And me sharing my experiences about this is just to let you know that it's possible. And from my understanding and what's been revealed directly to me through these inspirations of Nirvakalpa Samadhi, that this is an inevitable experience for everyone. And there is no emergency situation happening right now in the world. Everything is going according to the grand plan. Yes, war is terrible. Yes, I don't like the suffering that's happening in the Ukraine right now, or other parts of the world where there's violence and bad things happening. But the solution to problems is not to focus on the problems, but to focus on the solution. And this is why it's so important to be able to help others to reach this place if they want to, because it's so empowering. It makes every aspect of your life better. It enriches what you do. It's not a distraction. It gives you single-minded focus so that you could be even better at whatever it is you decide to do, whether it be computer programming, whether it be writing, whether it be sports, whether it be any professional interest, whether you're a lawyer or a doctor or making sandwiches at Subway. When you are in this experience, time passes by so quickly because you're having so much fun. And you're just better at what you do. Now, my challenge lately has been, yes, I've been in Samadhi, but it's like I'm in China. I don't speak Chinese, so I'm a bit isolated over here. The only way I even can reach out and communicate with English speakers is via the internet, via this podcast, via divinity.com, via the Slack and Reddit and so forth like that. And also there's a way you can also book a Zoom call with me for free. I don't care. I'm not doing this for money. If I can help anybody out there, I will. And that is my intention. But otherwise, what is it about? I mean, it's about the experience of love and truth. This, in my opinion, is the ultimate lifestyle, is when your heart is full of love and your mind is continuously inspired. Just to be frank with you, it's like my mind, the truths that I get in my mind, I see no difference. To me, it's like scripture. It's like these are the ultimate truths of reality. And when you can understand what it is that I'm talking about and what the ultimate philosophy is, you become more powerful. You become more authentic. You become who you are born to be. And that's all that I want. And that's what liberation is. Liberation is you being you, no matter what the environment, no matter what the situation. Nobody can change who you are, because you being you is so important. Anyway, this is Amma Bodha signing off. Until next time, you have a fantastic day.